on YouTube, we're fairly used to the idea of kind of being sold stuff or being told that everything's the newest thing is, you know, necessarily going to be better. All these kind of ideas, that's kind of the marketing push, isn't it? You know, a company is not going to bring out a thing and say this is worse than before. That would be pointless. Anyway, so on the channel, you may be aware that recently, or over the last year, I've been in this sort of mode of selling some bits and pieces that I don't use so much. What I did was made a spreadsheet of all of the bits and pieces of gear that I've got. Some of it, you know, sitting on a shelf unused, like a lot of pedals and stuff. Amps, guitars, some of those, you know, that I might not be using or that I might not love. Over the course of time, it actually racked up to be a considerable amount of money, and I thought it was a well worthy exercise. What I do is I wait for on eBay there to be an 80% seller fees thing, 80% off. And then, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is your time to pick your items to list. So I've got a few amps on at the moment because I don't see myself using some of these amps going forward. So the Mesa Boogie Road King, for example, yes, it's really cool to have that. It would have been a dream amp at one stage, but am I realistically going to get a chance to gig that thing? Not really. Can I make the most of it at home in a bedroom? Not really. Equally, there's some other bits and pieces. I think that's the idea. You put it on eBay, you put it up at what you would be happy with for a price, and see what happens. You know, let the universe decide. If there's someone out there who wants these things more than you, then you let them go. That's what I'm trying to get used to the idea of. Now, this guitar actually found its way back to me. I sold this once before. This guitar I bought specifically for a gig, or a month of gigs in Israel, and I wanted something versatile, and I think I wanted something Telecaster shaped, but the idea of this guitar has got a strap pickup in the middle, and the switching is done in a way that you've got a Telecaster with a fourth position, and this S1 switch can also add the bridge to it and stuff. So this is a Fender vintage hot rod 60s Telecaster, and they didn't make, I don't think, a ton of these, and they were sort of a limited run. You don't see too many of them around. Now, I was thinking, I haven't played this guitar for a while. It says Fender on headstock, so presumably there'd be some interest in it if I put it on eBay. They're relatively not super common, so I thought that might be a thing. And then I picked it up and I sort of played it. And it made me think, okay, well, I don't think I am ready to let this go again. So I sold this one, you know, about 4 years ago, or traded it for a Music Man, which I quickly got rid of. And then last year it came up on the forum that I frequent, and I don't think that opportunity comes up super often, that you get the chance to kind of rethink about a piece of gear that maybe you should or shouldn't have sold. So what I'm now thinking is, I'm going to think about what is good about this guitar, what is bad about this guitar, and then kind of make a sensible decision, reasoned decision, because at the moment I don't necessarily need the money. It's just this feeling that I'm liking the feeling of getting rid of pieces of gear and making space. But, so the thinking was, what do I like about this? It's my favourite colour for a Telecaster. It's got a rosewood board, that's nice. It's got a compound radius, which is interesting, and I think it kind of works. I really like the neck shape. It's kind of slimmer down at this end and thickens up a little bit. It says Fender on headstock, which most of my guitars don't, so it's kind of cool to have one little piece of authenticity. I really like the pickup arrangement. That works really well for me. Having a Telecaster with a fourth position, I think, is a great idea. It's nitro, so, you know, if I hold on to this thing and play it more, and I'm maybe going to do this, then it should kind of age with me. And I don't think there's anything that really looks better than a Telecaster that has been, you know, naturally aged, a thin nitro finish. I think at some point this could look really cool, and it's all about looks, isn't it? So playability wise as well, it plays really well. I enjoy playing it. Then the negatives, potentially this is on the heavier side for Telecaster, so it's just shy of £8, so it's like £7 15 ounces. Now I've got Telecasters that are about 7.5, and that to me feels about right. I've also got one that's under 7. So maybe that would be one negative, that it feels slightly heavy. But since that's the only negative that I can really come up with, I think I'd be stupid to sell it again, right? So maybe that's the kind of thinking. If you're not desperate to sell your guitar, maybe you need to just sort of sit and play it for a while. And I'm going to maybe leave this on the stand for the week and see if I'm drawn to pick it up again. Just because I think it's easy to forget maybe what it was that you liked about guitar, particularly if you're in like a selling frenzy and you're thinking, right, I need some money, or I want to recoup some money from this, and I don't want to make that same mistake again. So that's, for me, what I've done. I've just thought, well, what is it that I like about this guitar? What would I miss? How does the neck feel? Do I connect to the instrument when I play it still? What is it that I'm not liking about it? If it's just one thing, then, you know, maybe you shouldn't sell that guitar. If the guitar doesn't mean anything to you, so I think this is the other thing, that a guitar over time can become more than just a guitar, right? It can be like the memories that you've created with it, you know. So like for me, this had my first significant gig, was bought for a gig, it traveled abroad with me, and it also left me for a while, and then I managed to claw it back. So I think I've made the decision, and maybe it'll take a little bit longer, like a week more of playing with it, that I don't think it's the right time to let it go. Because yes, would I like a cream Telecaster at some point in the future? Probably. Do I think there'd be one out there better than this? Yes, probably. Does it matter though? This one completely can do the job, and I can make stuff that sounds vaguely like music on it. So it'd just be a case of freeing up some space, when actually I could just say, well, is there any other Telecaster out there right now that I'm going to buy? No. So maybe I should just hold on to this one. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Does it sound like I can play this guitar? Does it sound any different to anything else you would have heard me play? Is that the right move? Do you keep guitars that have some sentimental value to you? I think this definitely, of all my guitars, has a little bit more sentimental value than most. Like, it's got a little bit of a story for me, and it's probably the one that I've had the longest as well, I think. I can't think of any guitar that I've had for longer than this. Anything that's lasted longer than 2015, except for the ones that I built myself, 2014, 2015. This is the guitar that has remained in my possession, sort of, the longest, right? So, yes, I'm thinking I should hold on to this probably, shouldn't I? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want that preset, that's the one that I made yesterday. I did a video on it. But, yeah, let me know your thoughts. How do you make a decision? You know, if you don't need the money to sell a guitar, maybe you should do a little checklist type thing.